Hi, everybody. Welcome to UNT Alumni Live. This is episode 10. I can't believe it.
Crazy.
I am Claudia Taylor with the UNT Alumni Association, and this is a really special episode. I hope you have your kids and grandkids with you and ready to go, because we're going to have a lot of fun with the little ones in your life. We are thrilled to be talking with Anyah Martinez, who is on site at the Explorium Children's Museum here in Denton. Anyah is the founder and director of this incredible kid-friendly space, and she's going to be showing us around and telling us a bit about her UNT journey. Then it's time to get hands-on. UNT biology student Samantha Julsaint, who works at the museum, will walk us through some simple experiments you can do at home with your kids and grandkids. But before we get started, just a few reminders. If you're joining us on Zoom, keep an eye on the chat section at the bottom of your screen. I'll be posting some links there, and you can use that to send me your questions for Anyah. I'll also post a link to a survey. As always, fill that out and you'll be entered to win a UNT prize pack. If you're watching on Facebook, you can leave us your questions in the comment section there, and we'll get to as many as we can. And if you don't mind, while you're watching on Facebook, please open up your UNT Alumni Association app, go to events, and check in for today's live stream. Just enter code 09270. Now, before I hand the program over to my colleague, Casey Kalminski, let me tell you a little bit about our guest, Anyah Martinez. Anyah graduated from UNT with a master's degree in development and family studies from the College of Education. After participating in the 2007 class of Leadership Denton, she was inspired to start a business of her own, one that would serve the kids and parents of North Texas in a whole new way. The idea started taking shape in 2012, and in 2018, Anyah's vision came to life with the opening of the physical location of Explorium Denton. Anyah is a committed volunteer in the Denton area, having served Big Brothers Big Sisters, the Red Cross, and Operation Kindness, among other nonprofits, in addition to serving 3 terms on the Denton Public Library Board. She's also a busy mom of 3 who now works tirelessly to bring the kids of Denton fun, high-quality programming at the city's first children's museum. Anyah, thanks for being here. And Casey, take it away.
Thank you, Claudia. And I would also like to say thank you, Anyah, for being here and taking the time to show off what you've created and built from the ground up. I think that this is really phenomenal. Before we get started, Anyah, would you mind just telling us a little bit about your journey and what brought you to UNT?
Sure. And I'm gonna take my mask off for just a second. We do have a couple of guests here, so I want to make sure we're following. So what brought me to UNT? I think just, go away to college, So I graduated high school in 1995, and I actually started at UNT in the fall of 96 and got my bachelor's degree in 1999. And then I started working, and my husband was still finishing school. And when he finished, then we both started working on our master's degrees. So that was, we came to Denton for school and decided to lay down roots here. So
that's fantastic. So how long have you had this vision to build and invest in our children through a children's museum?
Okay, so in 2012, it's the spring of 2012, I was kind of faced with this, I was in a weird spot where I had a baby. I think he was about 8 months old. And then my twins were going to be turning 5 and going off to kindergarten in the fall. And I thought, gosh, I'm going to be so bored with just one baby at home. What can I do with my time? And I've always been kind of a busybody. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks one day that why doesn't Denton have a children's museum? So I said, I'm going to start one. And that's kind of it.
That's fantastic. And kudos to you for surviving twins and another one on top of that. So you are my hero, as many women are, and you're obviously a very strong woman. So congratulations on everything that you've already accomplished. So right now, times are a little unique with the coronavirus and the way that we have to communicate and interact with one another. I mean, I feel like I should do this just to, but I'm not going to. But how have you adapted in this time to stay busy and keep giving back to the children in the community and the families in the community?
So we did have to close. Oddly enough, this happened during spring break, which is usually the busiest time, is during those school breaks. And it was like crickets. And we were like, what's going on? And it was coming down the pipe that this thing was coming. And so we shut it down. And we were completely closed until about June 1st. And during that time, we knew we needed to start generating some revenue if we were going to keep paying the bills. That's our slide.
I love the slide.
It's really loud though, sorry. We'll show you here in a minute. So we are a nonprofit, and even nonprofits have bills to pay. So most of our staff had kind of a natural separation where they were graduating or having to move back home because they were living in the dorms, but their family was far, so they had to leave anyway. So we didn't have to really lay anybody off, but we still needed to keep things going here. We have animals to feed, we have programs to plan for, we have summer camps that are going on, and so we couldn't just shut down completely. So one thing that we did to keep our families engaged was to continue to provide online content. So we're still doing our story time every Thursday morning, and we're still doing live animal feeding. So we have a couple of critters that we'll show you here in a little while, and they've got to eat. So to keep people engaged online doing that. Another thing that we did, and a lot of children's museums around the country are doing this, is coming up with kits that parents can pick up with contactless, pickup, and keeping their children doing some supplemental stuff hands-on at home with these science kits. And actually there's some right behind me. So like this one is an individually packaged art kit, and I'm not even sure which one exactly this is, but we've got these dinosaur things as well, where you dig for, you make a dinosaur egg, that's a loosely dinosaur egg, and you bake it, and then the kids get to chip away at it, and there's like little treasures inside. So this is the instruction kit for the dinos. So we've been selling different themed kits since probably like April, and that has been a really popular and helpful thing. And they've changed out, the themes. Another thing that we're doing to keep, now that Texas has sort of opened back up, we wanted to keep our members kind of at the forefront, and so we're offering them some member-only times. And so like right now we've got a member family here celebrating a birthday, and so we wanted to make sure that they weren't just kind of left hanging. They pay for a yearly membership.
Everybody okay?
For a couple of months, yeah, that they couldn't use for a couple of months. So we wanted to make sure that they were taken care of. We've actually opened up to try to do some pay-to-play times, but people aren't coming yet. People aren't ready to come out. But when you're in control of it, and like we're still doing birthday parties, so like if that's your family, you're kind of more in control of who's coming in, and who's been exposed, and who you can choose not to invite certain people, or you can choose to just have it be your family or whatever. So we're keeping the ball rolling, and we are offering some things. We're also doing our summer camps, and in June they actually filled up, and then one of our dino camp for July filled up, but our last couple of camps aren't as much. So that was kind of hit and miss. It's going to be real interesting to see what happens when school starts. All of our summer field trips canceled. All of our April and May field trips canceled. That was a lot of lost revenue. So we're doing what we can with the current situation to keep people engaged, but it's not a whole lot. So we're not bored though. There's plenty to do, and lots of grant writing, and that type of thing. So we're still doing stuff.
This is absolutely fantastic and sounds like so much fun. And I think that let's start with the feedings, the tour. Let's check this place out. Like, I'm really excited to show everybody what you've got here.
Okay, sure. So when you come into our lobby, actually outside, before you come in now, there's actually a hand washing station. And so your experience actually starts outside. There's a hand washing station. We actually have a water exhibit, a water table outside as well, but we're not using that currently because it's just not sanitary the way we have it set up. So our lobby serves as kind of an exhibit also. When you come in, you check in here. Usually there's a worker bee up here. And this desk was actually built by an Eagle Scout. I just want to give them a shout out in case the Edwards family is watching. This was Nate and Edwards' Eagle project. So they worked really hard on this, and it's a really cool feature. We have a couple of things set up in here. This is the only area that we allow food. So like if you bring your lunch or you bring a snack, this is where that happens. Right now, our science kits are on that cart, but typically that's just kind of a place to stash diaper bags. But this is the exhibit area. So yeah, well, we can begin our tour here. we call this area the maker space. So you can see on the wall over there, it says make and think. And typically before COVID, we would have these tables paired up. Now we have them spread apart so that when families come in, they can have their own individual spaces. We have everything in here from, this is a paper airplane launching station. Typically there's stuff in here, everything from making things out of wood with, using hammers and nails and tools, to taking apart small engines, to sometimes we've got art. Sometimes we have more sciencey stuff that has to do with space. So this area changes out regularly. Every 2 weeks, there's a new sort of theme or lesson plan going on in here. And it's all very hands-on. This is one thing that stays here is our flight lab, which provides hours of entertainment for tiny people. They love just coming over here and doing the scarves over and over and over again. But we also use this to show other flight type related things. So like when we do our, we have a lab that we do about airplanes and helicopters, and we test them in here.
That's fantastic.
So we had a space camp a few weeks ago. We had our STEAM camp, and so some of our space stuff is still out here. You can see Sam over here dealing with Archie. So Archie is our bearded dragon. So this is Archie. Can y'all see him?
Hi, Archie. He's very cute. He's very handsome.
So Archie has to eat. And so Sam is feeding him right now. We also have a couple of other critters if you'd like to see them. We have another hand washing station right here too, folks.
Of course. So Anyah, real quick, going back to Archie, can you tell us a little bit about what Archie eats? And
no, but Sam can.
Wait, what was the question?
What does Archie eat? What's he eating today?
Okay. So he's an omnivore. So he's eating turnip greens and red cabbages today. He also eats meat. So that is usually crickets, but recently we have gotten roaches for him because those are really nutritious.
Roaches are nutritious.
They are. I'm not going to touch them right now.
Yeah, we're not going
to. Otherwise I'll scream, and I can't do that.
Oh my goodness. So how often does Archie have to be fed?
Like every other day,
protein or veggies?
How often does he eat?
He eats every day. He eats veggies every day, protein every 2 days.
Okay, fantastic. And what about the temperature control? Does he have to stay in a pretty climate controlled environment?
Yeah, so we just moved him to a bigger cage, so it's a little bit harder right now. But we have like heating mats all on the ground, under all of these tiles, and then we have 2 heating lamps on the top and 2 like above lamps to like heat down on his basking area. He has 2 different kinds of like temperatures he likes. He likes basking, and then he also likes cooling down, which is what he's doing over here.
Me too. So these are pretty docile creatures. Are the children allowed to handle Archie, or is he simply there to look at and,
I take him out every once in a while and they can pet him, but if they hold him, he will like try to run up their arms, and that's probably not the best idea for kids.
Fair enough. Excellent. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
What else do you have there,
Okay,
Anyah?
good questions. So we have a pink-toed tarantula. And so you can see her over here.
Where did she go?
Yeah, she's right by the sun. So she's right behind my hand, or right in front of my hand. Right here.
Oh, there she
Can
is.
you get her? Yeah.
I hope everybody's leaning into the camera to look just like we are.
Yeah, she's not going to jump at you or anything. She doesn't do the jump scares. And then we've got a little anole lizard in here. You see him probably on your back porch. He's hiding. I don't know what he's doing. Sometimes they hide.
Yeah, wait, I can probably find him.
Yeah.
He usually hides in like 2 different places.
So Samantha or Anyah, the tarantula.
Yeah.
He's like gone.
Back to that for a second, because I need to know. There's a reason why he has pink toes, or why he's called the pink-toed tarantula. So
Yeah, I have no idea.
He's right there. He blended into the rock.
Oh, there he is.
Yeah.
He's tricky.
Yeah. He's brown right now because it's usually they have like 2 different colors, green and brown. Brown is usually when there's loud noises and there's people in here, so yeah.
why
Good
does
to
the
know.
tarantula have pink toes?
I don't know.
I don't think anybody's ever asked that, Casey. So
I don't
I'm
know why
sorry.
they have pink
get on
toes.
the Googler.
Yeah.
I will.
So that's not all of our animals, but there's some more over here. This is kind of junky right now because we're not using any of this space right now, but we do have, this is the only screen in our whole museum. And the only reason we have this one screen is sometimes we'll be doing something that requires some ongoing instruction, like a video of how to, or we might be showing a slideshow of something that we've done, or a program that we did, or sometimes we'll, like last summer, it was the 50th anniversary of the moon landing. We had this space thing going like on a loop. So, but that's the only, like, you know, you want your kid to not have some screen time, bring them here.
That's
Although
awesome.
we do have a stop motion animation table.
Oh, that's fun.
So my friend Sean made this. And so you can set up your little, like, you can set up your little background with like animals and dinosaurs and stuff like that. And then you make your, you do take a picture over here, and there's all kinds of backgrounds up here that you can use as well. So right now, this is actually where it's at right now. So you see, I just put those, so, and then you take a picture and you move them slightly, and you put all the slightly moved pictures together, and you get a movie.
That's fantastic. So, Anyah, we've got a couple of questions rolling in from the audience. If you don't mind, I want to ask, this is a great question. What tips do you have for kids that are over the age of 10, and how do you keep them off of screens? So to go into the Explorium and see that there's one screen, I know my 10-year-old would gravitate towards it. So what do you recommend on a personal level as a mom and also as someone running the museum? Uh-oh, Daniel, we're muted. Just a second, Anyah. I don't know if you can hear us.
Yeah.
Okay, now there we go. We got you back.
Yeah, I heard you. So, so my twins are about to turn 13, so I've been through the 10s with them. My kids are kind of nerdy. They love to learn, and they read all the time, and they're into a lot of different types of educational things. And so it wasn't real hard to keep them stimulated in that way when they were 10, but I know that's a tough one for a lot of families. And like right now, all bets are off. Like my kids aren't going anywhere. They're on screens a lot, but they watch a lot of, the bigger ones watch a lot of educational stuff. So, but here, in terms of coming here, what happens a lot of times is the bigger kids all of a sudden have this like, oh, I remember what it was like to be a little kid. And they just jump in with their younger siblings, or they see another kid who's smaller and just immediately start playing with that child. It's real interesting how kids are real open to doing that kind of stuff, but an adult isn't going to just like automatically start talking and befriending another adult just because they're in the same room. Kids just do that. That's just how they operate. So a lot of times the bigger kids will start doing the little kid stuff, or helping the little kid, or engaging with the little kid, or reading something to the little kid. So kids of all ages can find something exciting or fun or funny going on up here. So, you know, once we get up and running again, come on up with your 10-year-olds.
Perfect. Well, thank you.
Was there another one?
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I think you were about to move on to something else. And then I do have a couple of other questions, but I was actually going to save them for the end.
Okay.
So we'll get to those in just a second. They're great though.
Okay. So we have a couple other critters in here. Right now, the only one is, we've got this blue crayfish, and he's hiding too. He kind of glows blue. I don't know where he's at. They always hide when you're trying to show them off.
Right, just like your children, or at least mine.
Yeah, or they start making faces, although he's not making a face. Okay, we might have to come back to him. These microscopes are really cool. So in school, in public school anyway, students don't get microscopes really until about 7th grade. These are designed for really little people. And so they have real slides that you can put in here with real, you know what, let me find one that's got here. So they've got real slides, and it's programmed. So this is like an ant or something right here, and then it gets closer, and then it gets closer, and you put it in here, and the microscope actually talks to you and tells you what it is and asks you questions about it. So they're interactive microscopes for little people.
I love that.
So operation table was also built by the same Sean who built the stop motion animation table. And so, and it's the difference is between this and the board game you played when you were a child is this doesn't have, you know, water on the knee. It has an actual like kidney. It's not a real kidney. It's actually, here's an interesting factoid. These organs were printed at the North Branch Library on a 3D printer.
Very neat.
So yeah, so shout out to our library, and it does buzz. It does buzz if you hit the edge. So
this
so
looks
that's
like the
that's a fun thing.
The ultimate backyard game, right? I think adults and
I don't
kids
know. I mean, adults do like it because they relate from when they were kids. This is always a popular thing, and this is one of those things that the big kids will start helping the little kids do because they can't reach. So they'll come and make a. It's like Rube Goldberg, you know.
Oh,
see where the ball goes. Oh, that was a terrible example. We recently had this donated to us, and so this has now served as a ladder as well as a climbing structure, so little kids can get up there now, in addition to using the steppy stool. But this is a really popular thing when you see dads and big kids getting involved with the younger kids.
Absolutely.
We've got a little reading nook in our teepee here, and it looks like somebody took all the garden vegetables in here as well. That's very common. So we've got books for all ages and like a little, you know, secret reading area. Some kids come in and they don't want to do all the loud stuff. They just want they're introverts. They just want to sit and read, and that's great. We've got plenty of stuff for them to do as well.
Hey, Anyah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
That is actually a really great segue to one of our other questions. As far as reading goes, do you have any websites or books that you would recommend for kids at home and parents to look into? What are some of your favorite resources?
Okay, so one thing that we were doing at the beginning of the shutdown was we were trying to provide some online resources to keep kids engaged. What I found, especially as a parent, was that it was coming at me from all angles. And so it was almost like overload, like, okay, we have enough websites to go to. But one thing that we put out was going online to the zoos, the big zoos around the country, and they have live webcams of a lot of the animal habitats. And so you can see the animals being fed. The zoos, a lot of the zoos were closed, so there weren't visitors there. So the animals were actually coming out, which was really cool. National Geographic TV, if you have, I think it's Disney Plus, if you have that. I think we've got that at home. There's some great programs on that that are educational. For bigger kids, Lester Holt is now doing a nightly news for kids. So that's more of a like current events kind of thing, but very educational and age appropriate. As far as books go, you know, anything that you can get your hands on that's sciencey. I like, one of the first books somebody gave me for this project was Rosie Revere Engineer, and there's a whole series of books that kind of focus on that type of thing. And that's probably like mid-grade, like third grade-ish. My kids are big readers, so I mean, I could go on for hours about what they've read over the years, but I'm not going to, because a lot of it has to do with like World War II, which is totally not what we're trying to get at here. Sure. I would say some fun books for your non-readers, because I do have, my younger child is a non-reader. He's not real interested in books. National Geographic puts these out, and they have them at the library, and they're called Weird But True, and they're fact books, and they're little square books, and they're about like 300 pages, but it's just like one little fun factoid on each page, and they're all themed. So sometimes it's about animals, sometimes it's about space, sometimes it's about U.S. history, but they're just little factoids, and they're really fun to just flip through and look at the pictures. So there's so much information out there. I mean, you can't not get information anymore. It's at your fingertips.
For sure.
I could go on and on reading resources, but
no, this is great. And I will say, as a mom, the National Geographic stuff, that the fact books, my kids love those. So it's, you're kind of reassuring me that I'm doing okay, and I like that. So thank you.
Well, and the thing is too, I mean, there's really only so much you can do. And I remember, you know, when this whole thing started, I got off social media because I knew that my kind of overachiever personality would get really bogged down. I knew moms were going to start doing this. They started posting their schedule, right? And it was like color coded, and okay, we're doing school at home, and so here's what we're going to do all day long. And I remember thinking, man, that's going to last about 3 days. and then everybody's going to be pulling their hair out. And I was right. And so I was so thankful that I didn't have to see that and try to compete with that. We're doing what we can. And
Absolutely.
if you do an hour a day, that's great. If that's all you can get in, that's great. And when school starts this fall, it probably is going to look a lot different. And you know, you just have to adapt and adjust, but you can't force it. You just can't.
That's right.
Screens are not the enemy. There's definitely some, you know, there's some guidelines and some boundaries that you can set, but it's not always a bad thing.
Sure, absolutely. And especially if you've got the right information in front of your kids, then that's fantastic. So thank you for letting me interrupt you there for a second.
Sure.
All right. So
this is where we're standing right now. We call it our musical forest. So we had a lot more musical instruments than we have now, but it used to be that there was an instrument attached to each one of these trees. And I can't even remember where I got this idea, but this piano was in my garage for several years. And Melissa painted it. Melissa used to work for, she helped me start the museum actually. And what happens when you go over to someone's house and you take your kids and they've got a really nice piano and your child goes over and you're like, no, don't touch, right? Am I right?
Right.
So over here, kids want to see what it does. And here you can actually see what it does. So
what a great idea.
To Explorium to bang on the piano.
What a great idea.
So one of our big features is our climbing structure. We call it the Chicken Coop. It's kind of a nod to not only our rural neighbors, but also our urban chicken culture here in town. And so this is where kids climb. And we can start by, we've got some like, what are these called? Climbing grips back here and a little ladder. And it's a 2-story thing. So there's all kinds of fun things to do in here. There's a Lego wall, of course, because Legos.
Of course.
And we've got chalkboards in here too. They've been cleaned off, but you can come and draw or write. These weird wonky like funhouse mirrors. Kids love looking at themselves in the mirror, and some adults do too. So this is a fun place for kids to come. One thing, this little story sticks with me. So I'll show you the toddler area in a minute. There's like a vegetable planting area. Kids will get all the vegetables and come in here. They take the vegetables everywhere. But one day this little girl was in here pretending like she was doing a cooking show. Aww. It was super cute. Yeah, it was super cute. So kids get inspired by the weirdest things. This is our chicken forest. So some kids just love textures and they love to touch things, and that's just a weird thing to touch. We've got a pulley here, so simple machines, learning how to use simple machines. We've got the slide, which you heard in the background, and I'll have Daniel go down with the GoPro here in a minute.
Yes.
We've got an egg chute, so kids can take eggs up here and shoot them down the chute. That's a lot of fun. Our big blue blocks, these are really popular at a lot of different children's museums. We were thankful to get these. This is one of our first exhibits that we got before we ever even opened. Kids and adults like playing with the blue blocks. You can see our climbing structure has a wobble bridge too. So we've got one of these wobbly bridges. And upstairs, there's a fire pole and another reading nook. So that's fun. So our baby area, we really try to keep just for babies so that it stays nice and clean and so that the stuff doesn't get wrecked. And then right next to it is the toddler area. And this long orange thing is the planter, but you saw that all the vegetables wound up in the teepee, but they're meant to be planted in the garden. So this is a garden. So that's an eggplant. I don't think an eggplant grows directly in the ground, but there it is. And there's an apple tree too that you can pick apples off the apple tree, but they've all been picked and put in the tent. Mona Lisa is another favorite. I'm going to plug her back in so you can hear her moo.
Oh my gosh, this is hilarious. I thought you had just mispronounced Mona Lisa and I was about to lose it.
No, we had a naming contest. Did you hear her?
Do it again. Yep.
Okay, so she's a milking cow. So it's not really milk, it's water, but this was like a must-have for me. Now we didn't get her until after we opened.
That is too neat.
And I have to tell you what happened with the opening. So, I mean, when we got her. So we finally ordered her. It was cost a fortune. She was very expensive. And the truck pulled up out here and I was so excited. And I went out there and I went on the truck, and these two guys that I know happened to be here when she arrived. And so they offered to bring her in. And I was like, okay, great. She's not very heavy. She's just bulky. So we get to the front door and I realize she's not going to get in through the front door.
Oh no.
We have no way to get her in. The door wasn't wide enough for her to get in. So he took her to serve Denton, and she lived there temporarily until we spent another bajillion dollars to get the door doubled so that we could get this cow in the museum.
I feel like
So
that is
this is
money
our
well
very,
spent.
very expensive milking cow. Please come milk her.
These are real life skills, people. You've got to know these.
Well, nobody I know that's my age, well, very few people my age anyway, know how to milk it or have milked a cow. So my dad grew up on a farm and he milked cow every morning, but it like something happened in there in those generations, in that generation gap. Nobody knows how to do that. So this isn't a real cow, but you're getting sort of the experience. And again, kind of a nod to our rural neighbors. So the last thing that I'm going to show you before we go into the classroom, and I'm hoping Sam is ready to do this experiment. I'm going to show you this nursing room. So one thing that was really important to me, as I said at the beginning of the broadcast, I had a baby when I first came up with this idea. And I immediately started going to children's museums like everywhere, just doing field research and figuring out what's going to be something that's going to work for Denton, like getting ideas and whatever. But one thing that stuck out to me was when I was going to the really big museums, like in Oklahoma City and in Indianapolis, they had these amazing nursing rooms for nursing moms. And I was like, oh my gosh, you have to have a nursing area for moms. So that's what
fantastic.
This is. So it's got this mirrored window. So if mom goes in, she can be in there with baby and still see out if she's got bigger kids still playing. But of course, you're welcome to bring your a little bit older kids in here. So what you'll see when you get in here is these really cozy recliners. They're super comfy. We've got a changing table. We've got a white noise machine. We've got a diaper genie. We've got a lamp. So if you want, you can just have like just a little bit of light and you can still see out and see what's going on with your what's going on outside in the museum. So this was really important to me to have this. And we get a lot of moms that are just super duper thankful for this. And I will give a shout out to, first of all, Courtney Adams. Courtney Adams Design helped design this room. And then Amber Briggle, who's the owner of Soma Massage Therapy. Her husband's actually a professor at UNT in the philosophy department, donated the money to pay for all of this. So we're really thankful for that. Lots of partnerships like that around town.
That is really special. And
yeah,
you did that right.
We are going to go, there's Sam. This is our classroom. So our classroom is also our party room. It's also our board meeting room. It's also our camp room. So this is our one multi-purpose room. And thankful to have Sam here she's one of our play workers. She is going to do an experiment that is something that we would offer here maybe during a birthday party or a special program or during a field trip. And this is potions, am I right? Yeah. So this is what we would call potions. So if you were to go on our website and book a birthday party and ask for an add-on, this would be one of the options. And so Sam, why don't you tell the viewers here what exactly you're doing?
So we're trying to get the kids involved in like kind of everything. Like we have a birthday party for like a lot of things, but potions is about chemistry and chemical reactions. And so we're calling it potions so they'll be interested because like, oh, hey, come over and have a chemistry lesson. They're not going to like that. Right. So, and we're trying to do things that like is a little bit easier for them to understand. So color changes and then like a whole bunch of stuff coming out is easy for them to understand that things are changing in there that they just don't see. So this one is, there's two experiments here today. So this one's the pH experiment, and this one is called elephant toothpaste. And so the pH experiment, how we make it is that we boil down red cabbage, and it smells. I just want you guys to know that red cabbage does not smell good, but we do it for the kids. Yeah. And so we boil down red cabbage and we take its juice, and then we blend half of a red cabbage and put it and mix the two things together. And red cabbage is a natural pH indicator. So we can show them all of the different like pHs just by using cabbage juice. And it's like, I don't know, like a cabbage this one only cost me like $1 or something. So it's, if you guys want to do this at home, it's very, very easy. And all this stuff is stuff that you'll find at home. So this is the starting one, starting color. It's going to change from purple. Acids are going to be hot, like hotter colors like red, pink, stuff like that. Bases are going to be cooler colors like blue and purple. And water would be like blue, like right in the middle. But I didn't want to do water because that one's not interesting. So this one is lemon juice. So usually when we start this out, we ask them like, what do they think is acidic? What do they think is basic? Acidic, like they'll be like, a lot more people know what acidic things are than basic. So we have to help them with that one. But usually people say lemons. So we start out with that. And I guess I can,
There you go.
and then it turns pink.
Just like
And
that.
it's, yeah, just like that. It doesn't even take that much. And so we're just gonna go down here. This is vinegar. This one is also a little bit on the acidic side. It's a little bit darker than this one, but like not by much. I usually have Sprite, but I didn't pick it up this morning. So we have, this is sugar water.
Okay.
This one is gonna turn this a little bit, it's gonna be a lighter purple, or yeah. So this one doesn't change that much. That's why it's in the middle.
Okay.
And then we have Alka-Seltzer. I usually ask them if they know what this is, and they don't. And some of them say, oh, my dad uses it.
Right.
This one they like because it bubbles, and they think that that's like the chemical change, which it is. It's just not exactly what they think it is. So this one is a different color of purple. The bases are kind of harder to demonstrate because they're darker, and we already start dark. But this is baking powder. Oh, another good one to do is an egg. Just like drop an egg in there, and it'll turn green. It's so weird.
Wow.
So yeah, this was going to be our basic one. Finally, we got to it.
There you go. This
And
is
then-
fun.
Yeah. So when I have like the soda and like sometimes we do bleach too, and it completely just turns it white because bleach does that. We usually have it turn into like kind of like a rainbow, but right now we have a pink and then purples and then a blue.
Very nice.
Great.
I am really excited to see what this elephant toothpaste is.
Yeah. So elephant toothpaste, we put like a little bit of food coloring in there. I put green because it's UNT and stuff.
That's right.
We have a little bit of dish soap, and then we're going to add yeast in there. It acts as a catalyst to it, so it speeds up the reaction. And then we have hydrogen peroxide. Make sure it's like 6% or higher because it's not going to work with the stuff that you usually use on your wounds. So this one is a little bit slow, but once it gets there, the kids love it. So it also has a smell. I don't know, you guys obviously wouldn't know that, but it usually has like a bread smell. One dad said,
right?
yeah, one dad said it smelled like a beer. That was an interesting day.
Yeah.
That makes sense though. Yeah, it does. So yeah.
Is
So
that a
this is what-
foamy consistency? What is
Yeah.
the texture of that?
So this is like kind of like foam. It's like if you add a little bit of water into your toothpaste. That's how it gets its name. But
Interesting.
it's a whole bunch of bubbles at the bottom. But then as it goes, it's just like a tube of foam.
That is really
And it goes for a while too. So we usually leave it out and let the kids come back and see what's changed.
fascinating. Fascinating. Well, thank you for that, Sam. I appreciate your time, and thank you for being an awesome UNT student. And we look forward to see all the amazing things that you're going to do in the future. Sorry, the feedback's throwing me just a little bit, but so when do you graduate, Sam?
I graduate fall of 2021, but I'm probably going to take an extra semester for 2022. So
That's
spring
all right.
2022.
Well, fantastic. Thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. Is Anyah still around?
Yes, she's over there.
Yes. No, I left. I bailed. I'm done.
Hey, get back over here. Come on. I have some really good questions for you.
Oh, okay. Can I do one thing real quick?
You absolutely can.
We didn't get a chance to really like publicly announce this, but as you can see, we do some fun stuff and we have a really fun party room. And we were actually this year voted Best of Denton for birthday party venues. Yeah. So we didn't even get a chance to put our stuff up in the window because everything shut down. So, but we are booking parties again. So if that's something that you're interested in, that's all on our website. The calendar's on there and all the information about that. We have fun up here.
I agree.
According to a lot of people.
Sure. That's fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hopefully people will make the drive and come support the Best of Denton and have some fun with their families up there. So that's exciting.
So. Yeah. So what other, I don't really have a whole lot else to show you. Were there other questions that rolled in that you wanted to ask?
There were. In fact, you had mentioned
you want to go out here?
Yeah, sure. We can do that.
Okay.
Like I'm walking with you, please.
Hang on. I'm going to grab a couple of things. And yeah, we'll just walk up here together.
Mom, are you cleaning up along the way? Is that what's happening?
No, I'm going to show you some stuff here in a minute.
Oh, okay, cool. So you had mentioned the kits and people can pick them up, but someone is wondering if you are able to ship those or if they're only available for people that can drive up and pick them up.
Yeah, it's pretty much a pickup only kind of deal right now. There are some exceptions, like if you're homebound and you're in town, we can figure out a way to get it to you, but it's pretty much a pickup only kind of deal.
Fair enough. I think that's super fun, and I am going to get some for my kids too. So I encourage you all, if you're tuning in and watching and have little ones at home, whether it's grandkids or your own kids, it might be worth it to make the drive up to Denton if you haven't been there in a while. And hey, even stop by the campus and check it out, because we've got a lot of really phenomenal things that have happened since you were probably last on campus. So a little plug there for you. Just drive by. Don't go touch or anything like that.
Yeah, don't touch anything.
So the other thing that came up was, where did it go? Oh, volunteering. So you've got a really impressive resume, and you have given back to the community over many years now, and you continue to give back through the Explorium. But how important do you feel that it is for kids to get experience volunteering? And do you have any organizations that you recommend for kid volunteering?
So, there's so many things that you can do in the community. I don't think grown-ups realize what children are capable of sometimes. There are a few agencies in town that will allow younger children to help. I know that at one time Vision was letting children come help just sort food that was donated. So like putting soups where the soups go and that kind of thing. But for the most part, it is kind of a bigger kid type deal. Here at the museum, we've had volunteers as young as like siblings that were like maybe 12 coming and having to do service hours for maybe an organization they were in, or we've actually a woman I know, her son came to do service hours. He was like 17 or 18 maybe. He had gotten a ticket, and so we put him to work. It was like a parking ticket. And so there's all kinds of reasons people come volunteer here. Most of the time it's either a student organization, either at UNT or at TWU, or it's a student that needs like observation hours. So maybe it's a child development major who needs to, do some sort of observation for a specific class or for their degree plan. And so in that case, they're usually just observing. But a lot of times what we have our volunteers do is just anything from like cleaning to, if they've got a little bit of a crafty bone, if they've got a crafty bone in their body, we might put them on repairing things, like sewing things back together, maybe making little repairs on things that have come apart, or organizing things. We had a student come one time, build an entire toolbox that we had ordered, and then organize all of our tools and nails and screws and that kind of thing. So there's always something that can be done. Maybe something that we've put off for a while that we just don't have time to do during a regular work day. Windows, the kids come and they just like, and they just, and they leave and they on the window. Windows constantly needing to be cleaned. That was gross. I'm sorry. So there's painting things, patching holes that get put in the wall, which is fairly common also. There's also nowadays, coming and putting these science kits together. That would be something that a volunteer could do. So
sure. No, that's wonderful. So obviously you've had many gifts in kind given to the Explorium, and that is really, really superb and fantastic. If someone watching right now has something that they feel might be good for the Explorium and they might want to donate, what is the best way for them to contact you? What are some things you're looking for that you might need to just keep the kids entertained and excited?
Okay, sure. So as you might imagine, we go through a lot of consumables. And so what we started doing about a year ago was we put together a monthly wish list. And that, I don't know that that's been updated for July, but that's on our website. There's a place there somewhere that says wish list. And it could be anything from, you know, paper towels to empty paper towel rolls to bottle caps to, you know, gallons of glue to make slime, or you know, maybe something random. Like I had a friend one time ask me, she said, we have all these pump soap refills. This was several months ago. We have all these pump soap refills. There's like 4 gallons of them. Do you want those? And I was like, sure. And you know what? We're using them. So a lot of consumable stuff like that. In order to get it to us, since we're not having regular hours, just shoot us an email at info@exploriumdenton.org, and we'll figure out, you know, some kind of drop off or pickup situation, since our hours are just kind of scattered right now. There's a give tab on our website too, that if there's other ways that you want to give, you can do that. And then the other, I know this isn't a directly tied, but it's a kind of a tangent to what you're asking, about, you know, just making a difference, you know, how you can help the museum other than just flat out giving, which I know, you know, UNT is in the same position all the nonprofits are right now. One thing that's helped us keep afloat, in addition to the science kits, which you can get through our website, order those, we're doing weekly prize drawings. And so we're everything from like gift cards to local restaurants to packages that include fun games. Have y'all seen this? Have y'all seen Dentonopoly?
No, this looks amazing.
Okay, so it's Dentonopoly, and it's made by a company called Big Sky Games. And I don't think they knew Denton terribly well, but we were fortunate enough to, Explorium has a square on this game. Like, I'm not even kidding. UNT is on there too. UNT is on there too. But yeah, so Explorium is on this game. So there's the I Heart Denton right by Explorium.
I love it.
Isn't that cool? Yeah, so we grabbed a couple of these at the Walmarts, and we threw these in some of our packages, and you can donate any amount on our Facebook page and be entered to win our weekly drawings. So we've been doing these every week for the past like 2 months, maybe 3. And those are going really well, and people are getting some really fun stuff to do at home and around town. So there's all kinds of options on that. But I had to show that game off because it was out of stock for a while. Now it's back at the Walmart on University at Razor Ranch. So
yay, I'm gonna have to go check it out.
Yeah, if you're still homebound, there's a new game for you.
I love it. Well, Anyah, you have been fantastic, and this has been a lot of fun, but I cannot believe it's already, our time is up.
Oh my gosh.
I know. It's almost 5 o'clock. This is crazy.
It goes so fast.
It does. So guys, if you are tuning in or just scrolling through Facebook and catching a glimpse of us, this is Anyah Martinez with the Denton Children's Museum called the Explorium. And she just gave us a really fun tour and showed us some things. There's a great opportunity to get your kids out of the house and let them play in a safe space. And one thing I noticed when I was up there, Anyah, was that you have a sign on the wall in the lobby that talks about parents playing with their kids and interacting. And I thought that that was really special, because sometimes we just need a mental break, but that sign was a great reminder that, you know what, they're only kids once, and let's interact with them, engage with them, and watch them learn and just see the world through their eyes for a minute. And it was special. So I love that you have that up there, and that you encourage the parents to interact and play with the kids as well, because, you know, we were all kids once too. So we're going to have fun too. So, all right, enough on that emotional rant, but thank you again. And
you're welcome. I wanted to say one more thing about the volunteering aspect. I always forget about this, but if you have never served on a board for a nonprofit, or if you're serving on one and you're about to term off and you're interested in being on our board, that's another way that you can serve the museum and serve the community. So just again, shoot an email to the info@exploriumdenton.org, and one of us will get back to you on that. We're always looking for professionals in various fields, but also, you know, parents that, you know, have something that have some skin in the game, I guess. So
Yeah.
it's not always like about deep pockets, although that's nice. It's about, you know, really making a difference and having a lot of input on what's going on here, as well as monitoring what's going on. So that's another great way to volunteer if you're out of school and you're ready to do something like that.
I think that is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And before we go, there is a request for you or Daniel. Somebody has got to go down that slide.
Yes. I'm not going to do it. Daniel, are you going to do it? Okay.
Anya, can you hold the camera?
Or are you going to do the GoPro?
Daniel.
You do the GoPro? Okay. Do you want to take your mask off? Sure. Okay. There's really nobody here, so you're welcome to do that.
Oh my gosh, this is so fun.
I can't believe we're making him do this.
Yeah, we are. We have fun too, you know.
We love you, Daniel. We love you.
Watch those slick shoes.
Oh my God.
He's a champ. This is happening.
Don't have a workers' comp claim.
Just be warned. So you might want to brace yourself at the end.
Oh boy.
But don't touch the handle.
Don't touch the handle.
Yep, there you go. Yep.
The cowboy boots.
Yay! What a good boy you are. Wasn't that fun?
This is the first time we've sent Daniel out on site to help with an Alumni Live episode. And I think this is like his little initiation, and he passed.
Oh, well,
he gets to
great job, Daniel.
Good job.
You got the job.
Oh my gosh. Claudia, I'm going to turn it over to you. And thank you again, Anya and Daniel. You guys are phenomenal.
Thanks for inviting us.
Go
Mean Green.
Go Mean Green. Thank you all so much. That was pretty crazy. Thank you, Anya and Sam and Daniel. And thank you all for joining us today.